So we don't have any brakes on this thing. It came with like an air brake system, which obviously I'm not going to reuse because it's sketchy at best. It was air brakes without any sort of backup system in place. And not only is that not really DOT legal, but it's not really safe and I don't like it. So we're going to go back to standard brakes. We're going to resolve the wheels and tires on this thing, and so that's the goal of this episode. Let's get into it. Brakes. So since the beginning of this project, I have been dreading the brakes because, as you can see, they're starting to rust on the outside. So you can only imagine what they're like on the inside as far as the lines go. I haven't had any of these wheels off except for that back corner, and I specifically avoided looking at the brakes. These lines back here, because they're up in the air and away from everything, actually seem pretty good. And that hose, and I don't know, we might get lucky, that's what I'm saying, but generally the seals dry out in these cylinders and then they go. So I have two options. I could go with the Hydro Boost system that is so often used in diesels because of a lack of a vacuum system, but this has a working vacuum pump. So we could go with a standard and cheaper vacuum style brake booster. This proportioning valve and everything else would have been made for a vacuum style, and everything, the system that goes along with it. To do a Hydro Boost, I would have to take off of the hydraulic pump and add additional expensive hydraulic lines that I don't have. So basically a couple $100 worth of hydraulic lines is what it would be. I'm not too keen on that, because in this case, for this truck, I don't think we need, you know, extraordinary braking that the Hydro Boost system does. Another reason they put it in these big trucks, and not just diesels, they put it in big gas trucks too, is because it's more powerful. It's a more, you can get more boost out of the assist, basically, because it is still an assist, but you can get more power out of it because it's a hydraulic pump driven system rather than just, you know, a vacuum assist, which has its limitations. So I had a Hydro booster that I thought about rebuilding, and I even got a rebuild kit for it, but I haven't got around to rebuilding it. And that's my fallback at this point. I have this, which I bought, vacuum booster, and I have a master cylinder, which I would have used regardless with the Hydro Boost, because I think it's roughly the same master cylinder, whether it's Hydro Boost or vacuum. So we're gonna see. Oh, it even comes with a valve in there. That's handy. I don't know about this rod. This cab is a 1-ton cab that of course came with Hydro Boost. Okay, I see. We're gonna need to screw that rod out. We'll do that, and then that should screw right onto here, because I believe that intermediate rod is for the Hydro Boost. So let's see if we can get that rod off and see what happens. We got this loose, just stuck it in the vise, put a wrench on there and turned, and it came out. So okay, just gotta put this in the truck then. Alright, that worked out pretty good. We got plenty of clearance between various parts and my electrical bundles, and I think This is gonna fall right into shape. We're gonna have to run a vacuum line from here to our vacuum manifold. One of the reasons I wanted it there on the fender. Easier to access and shorter runs, but need to get our master cylinder set up. Master cylinder, again, brand new. I can't remember what I ordered this for. Can't remember if it was a C10, a K5, or a K10. I have no idea. I think I got the one for just the default C10. So we have to bench bleed this. I don't like this style. Scratch up my new lids here, taking these off. Alright. Did they paint it on? What's the problem here? Thanks. There we go. Looks pretty clean. Sometimes when you order these, there's machining bits or residue, but looks like this one's pretty clean. Oh, forgot how long and annoying this is. I'm going to keep doing that until I stop getting bubbles, you know, out of the bottom of the cylinder. Probably take me a while. I'm going to do that. No need to watch me. Well, that went a little better than I thought it was going to go. These lines here survived an awful lot of me, you know, putting them back into the shape they're supposed to be in, and I'm kind of impressed by that. So if that's an indication of how the other lines are, then, you know, maybe we've got a chance here. So I bled this till bubbles stopped coming out in both. But when you bleed one of these, they tell you not to compress it the whole way. The problem is to get bubbles out of the frontmost cylinder, you have to press it all the way. So, I don't know. Every time I do one of these things, I find it doesn't work properly. So this may not be bled properly. I know this one's bled properly, and I think that's the rear, because it's the bigger line. Maybe it's the front? I don't know. If I traced them out, I could tell you, but I'm not going to do that right now because I'm lazy. We're just going to add some fluid and go in and pump the brakes and I don't know, see what the pedal feels like first of all, and then we'll go around with our vacuum gun and bleed them individually, I guess. So let's do that. Yeah, so I think this bleeder is going to snap off like a twig, but let's find out. Let's soak it down good with PB Blaster. Yep, snapped it right off. Okay, well, those are going to need replaced. I'm just going to order two new cylinders for that. Not even going to mess around with that further. I figured that would happen. don't know why I just didn't order the cylinders ahead of time. Well, shall we try the front? Calipers on the rear. I'm gonna have to crawl under here, aren't I? Oh, this one has a cap on it. Yep, well, that's it for all these brakes, I think. I'm not even going to try the ones on the other side. When you've been sitting for 32 years, I had really hoped this wasn't going to happen, because this is more money I don't have. We're going to get the bare basics to rebuild these. I may not even get shoes until I get them apart, or pads. I don't know. I'm going to get, at the very least, I'm going to get the calipers and the cylinders. And that's all I'm gonna do for now. And I'm gonna rebuild these one at a time, I guess. I'd ordered new cylinders for the rear brakes, and well, they didn't come, so I had to go down to O'Reilly's, and well, hopefully these are the right ones. I have new calipers for the front. Don't know where they are. I have to dig them out of my pile of parts, but let's do, I guess, the rears first. I forgot brake fluid, so I hope there's some brake fluid in that can in there like they're supposed to be. I don't know. We're going to find out. So let's get that wheel and tire off. Excitingly, I got a set of these. Not fantastic tires, but they're not 30 years old like those. So I really like these wheels. I think these black wheels are really going to, I think they're going to match the yellow truck, is what I'm saying. And we're going to pop these on at the same time we do the brakes. So we'll go around to each wheel, check and replace what needs checked and replaced. Swap the wheel out. Yep, standard boring stuff. If anything happens exciting, I'll let you know. Hopefully nothing too exciting will happen other than, everything that's rusty snapping off like it usually does. So let's get into that. Alright, I pulled the springs to spread these shoes. These shoes look tremendously good, other than they've been sitting for a long time. And I guess that's normal with C-clips, C-clip axles. I mean, the hub doesn't look like it's leaking. I guess the bearings are okay-ish. It'll be fine. So we can get this out. Oh, pulling too much apart here. There's our snapped bleeder. Made in USA. Oh, those are probably original. Won't see that much anymore. Unfortunately, the fitting was bound to the line, as they often do, and snapped. We got to replace that line, which it looks like somebody else had, recently redone. But I'm hoping that this is in relatively good shape. Yeah, I mean, we should be getting brake fluid out of here, unless she's clogged up with rust. So hopefully we won't end up replacing this one, because that's just going to be a pain in the rear. But, probably end up replacing all the brake lines, because that's the way it goes. Well, we'll see if we can get that fitting loose there. And then we can just form up a brake line. Maybe a little bit better than they did, I don't know. We'll see. Alright, I cannot for the life of me get this to bleed. I can get a little bit, but we're going full power now. We're just going to use the air-powered vacuum bleeder. Basically, air just moves over there. All my air pressure from the air compressor just moves over there, and the Venturi creates a vacuum in the line, and should suck brake fluid into that can if it's strong enough. I don't know. Oh, need to open the bleeder. I'm going to go pump the pedal a few times to make sure the other end of the system is pressurized to kind of help it out. Also topped off the brake fluid. Don't forget to let that, because if that goes down below the level of your master cylinder, then you got to restart. Alright, so the brake is releasing properly as it should when I push the pedal. Obviously there's not two of me, so I can't double check how well it's working, but pedal feel is greatly improved. Make sure the cap's on so I'm not squirting everywhere. I think we pulled through about a whole cylinder's worth there, and that should be more than enough to get all the old stuff out of the line, and which I don't think there was any in there. But well, we know this one's working. Well, we don't know it's working, but I had to order lug nuts for these because the old wheels are unilug style. It goes through the wheel, and you can see how deep these wheels are. It goes through the wheel, and well, anyway, that's not this style. So I ordered some tapered lug nuts. Alright, didn't have much trouble with this one, and it has started gravity bleeding on its own. So I'm just going to hook up my little vacuum bleeder here and suck a little through to make sure all the air is out of that line there, which most of it probably is if it's gravity bleeding, but we'll suck some through, bleed it out, and then hopefully the rear will be done. We'll just be waiting on lug nuts. So these calipers are almost the same, but not quite. This has a different ear profile on it than this, a different angle to the ear, and this is in a different place. This is farther down and it's pushed out further, such that it is tight against the suspension in this place. I'm not sure if this is for a two-wheel drive or I specified the right vehicle, and they are alike in almost every other regard, but they will not work. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do here exactly. Well, by some miracle I managed to extract the bleeder, and everything appears intact. I believe the seals are intact, but you know, we won't know till we try it, basically. I guess I'm going to clean it up as best I can and try to reuse it. I hope that this bleeder will be usable. By that I mean the same size. Reuse this, all the new hardware that I can. All right, let's clean this up and see what we can do with it. Well, just as I had feared, and as usually happens, this hose is shot, which probably means that the one on the other side is shot as well. It's not passing any fluid. I'm sure it's collapsed and rotted for many years. So, I gotta order new hoses now. I have a new brake line, and hopefully it's the same length. It looks long enough. I have a little bit of slack in the line if not, but yeah, I think that'll be fine. All right, let's put this on there and then re-bleed. All right, brakes are done and work, and the pedal is tight without the engine running. That's a good sign. It means you're not compressing air. But I present to you, for the first time in 32 years, this truck with all 4 solid matching baloney skins. So check out that stance. That is exactly what I was going for, and those black wheels just make it pop. I hate to say make it pop, but you know what, it does. That is just the exact perfect stance that I was looking for. My goodness. And she doesn't have that slope to her anymore for the first time. Yep. She hasn't had 4 solid matching wheels and tires on her since the 90s that all held air. Oh man, this is going to be great. I'm excited. I really want to drive this thing. So these are 35 inches in diameter. The old ones were 33s, and these were even better. I like these better than the mag wheels, because I bet those look great when they're polished up. And he had a lot of chrome on his rig when he built it the first time. We're avoiding chrome. The only chrome is going to be like the grill and around the doors and handles and things like that. We're not going for chrome. We're going for black and yellow, kind of like a bumblebee style look. Yeah, oh man, the stance. Oh, I'm getting excited now. I'm getting excited. We're just we need an interior before we can really drive her without sitting on a bucket. It's hard to sit on a bucket in the square bodies because of the way the seat goes up, and harder to drive stick on a bucket, but you can do it. I'm not going to do it right now. I want to get it won't take much to get the interior in. I promise it's coming as soon as I can get to it. I have to order a few parts, and then we can just rip through the interior because I have a lot of it ready to go. Oh man, this is looking so great. Oh man, I I love it already. I absolutely love the stance on this thing. This is like everything, you know, all the square bodies I pictured and played with as a kid but couldn't own. It's even gonna look, you know, with the kind of shorty Blazer chassis here, I think it's still gonna look okay. Helps you in off-roading just a bit because it's a little bit shorter than a short bed wheelbase wise. This is fantastic. For the sharp-eyed among you, I have purchased 2 extra tires. They are the same and roughly the same amount of tread, maybe a little less tread, but these are fairly expensive tires when they're new, and these aren't even that old. I think the date on them is only a couple years. I have to check to verify. I'm not going to bother at the moment, but I think they're only a couple years old from what he said. Yeah, there is a little checking in here, but you know, they've been used. Those 2 are the worst. These have a little bit of checking inside there, but not near as bad as the 32-year-old tires that were on it. These are going to do the trick, but as I was saying, I have these 2 extra tires, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them yet. I'm not sure. Burnout material, maybe? I don't know. But I think I paid an extra $50, and he threw these tires in along with the 4 tires and wheels there as part of the deal. I was like, well, you know, I can maybe find a use for them. Maybe see what smoke hides within them when we get this thing. I don't really have a good place to do a burnout though. I don't know. I don't even know if this, with the gearing this has, I don't know if it's capable of doing a burnout because it's geared low already with the transmission, but I don't know about what the axle gears are. And then I'm worried that these tiny drive shafts will snap. So I don't know if we'll be doing a smoke show or not, but I do have 2 extras. Okay. Yeah, I am loving the stance on this thing. Love it. Absolutely love it. Gonna be perfect, I can tell already. So we got brakes and wheels and tires on this thing. We are so close. We just need an interior, and then we can drive it. And then we need the bed and the bumpers, just some metal work, and that's pretty much it. There's a few little things that just sitting here I've noticed. I've accidentally bumped it or something. I need to do some touch up and stuff like that. It's just been sitting so long, and you know, in my piles of junk, and I should have covered it up or something, but I didn't. Anyway, very close. A few things left to go, and then we are going to be ready to put this thing on the road. I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit is what I'm saying. I just want to get in this thing and drive it right now, but it's really hard to drive with no seat. We're so close. I can't wait. Anyway, if you want to see more on this thing, and if you want to see it finally run and drive in its true element, well, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think down below. We're getting there. It's been a long trip. I'm ready to finish this thing up. So anyway, as always, thanks for watching.